Spark Books here. Today, I'm going to explain the book, Bargaining for Advantage, by G. Richard Schell. Take care, enjoy the book, and have a nice day. Bargaining for Advantage, 1999, is a guide to becoming a more efficient and intelligent negotiator, combining insights from negotiation research with tried and tested tactics by some of the world's leading business experts. This is a book for anyone who wants to improve their bargaining skills. Key idea number 1. Accepting your strengths improves negotiations. Danish proverb, you must bake with the flour you have. Instead of wanting more, use what you have. It's a smart rule to follow when bargaining. Embracing your true strengths improves negotiations. Business and personal negotiations vary. Since we all compete differently, that's expected. Example, Steve Ross, Time Warner CEO and Warner Communications founder. On a Warner business jet, Ross played canasta. After losing the last game before landing, he ordered the aircraft to circle the airfield until he won a hand. Ross often competed like way in business. Larry King is the opposite. His agency tried to persuade CNN owner Ted Turner to give King a big salary midway through his tenure. The plan was to get greater pay from other networks and use it to negotiate with Turner. King told Turner he would stay at CNN for a little raise during discussions. He wasn't a hard bargainer. Larry King, a decent guy, will struggle to be a huckster. Like Steve Ross, you'll struggle to appear cooperative if you're competitive. You must be loyal to yourself or your bargaining strategy will be a chaos. People appreciate authenticity. Unassertive? You can negotiate well without pretending to be Steve Ross. Accept your strengths. These may involve listening to the other side and understanding how their requirements match yours. You may be good at reaching consensus. Develop a strategy if you're a natural competitor. Regardless of personality, all negotiators can benefit from these tips. The following sparks will examine them. Key idea number 2. The finest negotiators are enthusiastic yet realistic. A small Japanese manufacturer introduced a $29.95 little transistor radio in 1955. It was popular in Japan, but Akio Morita, the company's dynamic CEO, wanted more. Morita expected much from his product. He planned to sell the transistor radio in the US, the world's largest consumer market. Morita's little company? Sony. The best negotiators have realistic expectations. Akio Morita came to New York to pitch his new technology to merchants, confident Sony would become a household name. Skepticism greeted him. According to Morita, many American companies didn't understand the appeal. They said, everybody in America wants large radios. However, Bulova, a respected electronics company, eventually noticed Morita's persistence. Bulova committed to buy 100,000 Sony transistor radios if Bulova's name was on them. This was a prevalent commercial tactic that promised great riches. Morita refused. Bulova's buyer was stunned. He informed Morita that Bulova's fame took over 50 years to build. Since Sony was unknown, why not capitalize? 50 years from now I promise you that our name will be equally as famous as your firm name, Morita said quietly. History follows. Sony became famous after accepting a lower offer from another American distributor that preserved the Sony logo on the radio. Morita's experience teaches us to negotiate with an optimistic expectation rather than a goal. Difference? An expectation is a realistic aim, while a goal is more ethereal. Expectations add credibility to negotiations. Believing that your request is reasonable, given the facts, motivates you and increases your chances of success. You can be more confident in your anticipation if you investigate and prepare. Akio Morita predicted Sony's success. He saw the transistor radio's success in Japan and realized its potential in a vast consumer market. Like Morita, bringing expectation to negotiations will give you complete confidence that your request is reasonable. Key idea number 3. Norms assist negotiate. You're a hospital nursing executive negotiating budgets. Funding for extra nurses is scarce. To win the negotiation, appeal to the decision maker's knowledge of the hospital's best interests. Thus, you must appeal to their values. Norms assist negotiate. We follow rules, laws, which bind society, are evident. Internal norms, like a company's philosophy or code of conduct, apply solely in a given setting. Recall our hospital negotiation. Say hospital executives have stated that high-quality patient care is their top priority. That makes it a norm you can use to argue for more nurses. So research, acquire data, and align your budget request with the hospital's patient care goal. Your request will be approved by decision makers' standards. Gandhi used this strategy differently. Gandhi defended Indian rights in South Africa after learning law. After arriving, a racist law forced him out of a first-class railway carriage. It hurt him. he used the South African administration's rules to challenge the law. One societal norm required well-dressed and well-behaved people to fly first class. Gandhi suited up and booked a first-class ticket. Gandhi was sold a ticket by the station master because of his outfit. Gandhi sat beside a well-dressed Englishman on the train. The Englishman complained when the ticket collector tried to evict Gandhi from the first-class compartment. After all, he believed well-dressed and well-behaved people should travel first class, and Gandhi fit that mold. Gandhi sat through his trip. Once you discover the norms, you have an effective strategy for political action or corporate disputes. Key idea number 4. Fair, reciprocal partnerships help negotiate. Kenyans say, leave a good name if you return. Honor and generosity in commercial dealings. People will treat you well if you treat them well. Fair, reciprocal connections facilitate negotiation. If you can exploit someone, don't. After all, generosity breeds generosity, and a good friendship can last a lifetime. J.P. Morgan and Andrew Carnegie's commercial relationship exemplified this. Carnegie struggled to pay his bills during the 1873 financial panic. Morgan asked Carnegie whether he would sell his share in a partnership with the Morgan family. Carnegie agreed to sell his part for $60,000. Morgan consented. Carnegie called Morgan the next day to collect his money. Morgan gave him $70,000, $10,000 more than agreed upon. Carnegie had underestimated his debt, he argued. Carnegie was impressed. From then on, the two men formed a friendship and business partnership that would pay off far more than this small act. Morgan and Carnegie's reciprocity was crucial. Good negotiations require reciprocity. When bargaining, make a move and wait until the other party responds before making another. Remember that real reciprocity isn't lopsided, so don't be swayed by modest presents from the other side. Generous and cooperative people often give in because they feel obligated to, like a street con artist asking for money for a minor service. Despite knowing better, you pay them. Like street con artists, negotiating con artists can be found in the CEO's office. Key idea number 5. Negotiations need understanding the other side's motivations. Henry Ford stated, if there's any secret to success, it rests in the capacity to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle. Stepping into the other's shoes can help you negotiate. Best negotiators discover what drives the opposing side. They question, why is the other person sitting there, and give an offer to meet those interests. Key point, negotiations need understanding the other side's motivations. Offering something valuable helps in negotiations. Kelly Sarber, a young Oceanside, California saleswoman, did this to earn a waste management contract. Sarber, a surfer, appreciated Oceanside's beach's importance. She also realized that coastal erosion may wipe out such beaches. She connected the dots. How? Her company's dump site was in Arizona's sand-filled desert. Sarber volunteered to refill beaches with a load of clean sand after each rubbish run. She triumphed by sweetening the bargain and giving something Oceanside administrators would love. However, you must also know who you're negotiating with. Companies and institutions have policies and goals, but people negotiate. Negotiations revolve around their standing, self-esteem, and rewards. See if your interests match your negotiators. Consider a job interview. If your prospective boss is opening a new office and wants to keep payroll low while it's being built, you may offer to start later. Detailing like this matters. Key idea number 6. Negotiation requires leverage. Negotiating involves many factors. Leverage may be most important. Leverage lets you negotiate on your own terms. Negotiation requires leverage. Is bargaining like poker? Perception governs both. Successful negotiators and poker players with no power can appear to have it all. Leverage is dynamic and can be used. Leverage is your advantages over the opposite side, which can take numerous forms. You can use leverage to make the other side lose face if you don't reach an agreement. You could use a third party to adjudicate or watch the transaction and offer fair conditions. The other party would add pressure to reach a settlement. Find a good alternative to leverage. Take Janie Mitchum, HL&P's buying manager. HL&P paid Burlington Northern Santa Fe Railway to transport coal to its massive generating station. Mitchum was disgusted by the $195 million a year rate, but Burlington Northern controlled rail access to the HL&P plant, so what could she do? First, Mitchum appealed to fairness and reminded the railroad of their long-standing connection to negotiate cheaper charges. Burlington Northern was unmoved. Mitchum had an idea. She would build a railroad to connect her plant to Union Pacific Railroad tracks instead of using Burlington Northern. She proposed lowering Burlington Northern's rates to its management, but they laughed. Mitchum proceeded with employer approval. Union Pacific offered her 25% less than Burlington Northern. Mitchum leveraged both railway corporations to cut rates. Her Janie Rail saves the corporation approximately $10 million a year. That's leverage. Key idea number 7, objectivity and a single step can solve a problem. Sitting at a long boardroom table, you face stony-faced executives. They whisper and shake their heads. One of them frowns at the large Rothko print on the wall. Things aren't good. Your folks think the other side is demanding too much and you're being stingy, so this negotiation has stalled. Feeling impatient? Do what? Clear your brain, then take one baby step. The takeaway: objectivity and a simple move can solve a problem. Negotiation is about compromise, but when you reach a standstill and your mood turns nasty, it's hard. That requires objectivity. Pause and step outside yourself. Control your emotions. Are they professional? Check your thoughts. The opposing side's behavior depends on the negotiation, not their nature. If you forget this, you may regard them as a selfish, unreasonable enemy and yourself as a victim of assault. That mindset could lead to a negotiation downfall. After avoiding this, start using one modest step. Make a small, clear advance toward the other side. This could be a compromise or an apology. Take another tiny step if the opposite side responds. Repeat the pattern until tensions subside. On November 19, 1977, Egyptian President Anwar al-Sadat visited Israel using this method. This visit was dramatic since Israel and Egypt had fought for decades. In this scenario, Sadat's small step was getting off the plane, recognizing Israel's existence. The Camp David peace accords and Egypt's Sinai Peninsula repatriation followed this gesture. Sadat and Israeli Prime Minister Menahem Begin shared the 1978 Nobel Peace Prize for their tiny steps. Not everyone faces dramatic situations. The one small step method can save a personal or professional dispute. Key idea number 8, 3 bargaining ethics schools exist. Imagine entering an antique store. A magnificent ancient globe sits at the window among the old, unwanted furniture. Flip a price tag. Ah, just out of reach. The elderly shopkeeper is gently approaching you. She smiles and caresses the globe. React? Yes, I'll take it. Use tall tales to haggle? Your answer says a lot. It shows your negotiation ethics. The point: 3 bargaining ethics schools exist. Real-world negotiation methods are many. Most are one of 3 sorts. Poker school starts. It views negotiating as a game with rules. Laws prevent fraud, coercion, and fiduciary duty. These explicit rules allow anything. That allows ethical ambiguity. In the antique store, a poker school member would lie to get the best price for the globe. This school admires skilled deception. Pragmatists accept some deception. However, this school prefers not to lie if there are better options. Unlike poker schoolers, they worry about their reputation if detected. They maintain credibility to maintain good working connections and market or community repute. Idealists are last. This school follows Immanuel Kant's view that lying is always wrong. Like him, they think our social life would be pandemonium if everyone lied. Idealists think negotiations are serious, not games. The idealist school's most successful capitalist, Warren Buffett, always acts with integrity, proving that you don't have to be a Machiavellian deceiver to succeed in business or life. Whether competitive or cooperative, anyone can negotiate well if they're themselves. However, many ways can increase bargaining skills. These include negotiating with high expectations and building solid connections via respect and reciprocity. That doesn't imply being a pushover. Understanding leverage at the bargaining table is essential. To view more content like this, subscribe. Don't forget to like and turn on notifications. The channel really benefits from it. I appreciate you being here.